Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Spurs Show. Without Phil Cornwell, Phil is still in the play, so apologies for that. Also, welcome to viewers of sporttonight.live.com. Tonight's edition you can actually watch online and on channel 112 HD. So welcome to viewers of this wonderful channel that have us here on a special, well, I'll say special occasion. It's absolute misery here. Absolute misery. But anyway, joining me to moan quite a lot, I'd imagine, the famous director, Theo Delaney. Cheer up, Theo.
I can't cheer up, Mike. I'm sorry. I'd love to, but it's too early for me now to cheer up.
And also with me, owner of the 100 Club, the fantastic, the longest-running music venue in the West End, Jeff Horton returns. Hi, Jeff.
Evening, Mike.
Nice to see you. Thanks for coming along, and thanks again to Sports Tonight for having us for this moan-a-thon for the next 20 minutes or so. So let's. I mean, we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. So Sunday, is it the end? Was it a blip? How do we see it?
Well, OK, I'll start then. I have to say it was one of the most painful North London derbies I can remember, and I've seen some painful ones. I think I just didn't expect this team, after watching the way they've developed under Harry, to ever capitulate the way they did yesterday. And I can't even now really find any rhyme nor reason
still
why
raw.
it happened.
I mean, it's barely 24 hours
but
on.
It went from heaven to hell, from bliss to bewilderment in the space of 30 minutes. I mean, I've never seen a game turn upside down like that. And in actual fact, at the end of it, about 7 or 8 people text me to say, Jeff, we've just seen you all alone in the Spurs end.
You were caught on the camera, were you?
Yeah. Saying, looking very, very sad. And that's exactly how I felt. I still, to be honest with you, I still haven't got over it. I can't fathom it at all.
I haven't got over the Man City defeat. I mean, that's how bad.
At least we played in that game.
Yeah,
but yesterday,
totally different type of defeat. Of course, there's two ways to lose painfully. One is to play really well and be robbed, and the other is to just not turn up. And to be honest, we were 2-0 up in that game.
That's it. We didn't turn up.
And we hadn't played well. I mean, those 2 goals were incredibly jammy goals. One was an extremely fortunate deflection. The other was a very dodgy penalty.
Yeah.
We played really well for 5 minutes. I remember, because I watched it on the television, and for 5 minutes we played well. And I remember thinking, I honestly thought, sometimes in these massive games, the team that plays well for the first 5 minutes is the team that gets turned over. We then proceeded to start to play quite badly, scored twice. What? And then we got well. I mean, we got what we deserved. I mean, we were that bad that we got what we deserved, and that's painful to say, but that's the truth.
Yeah, but I think, you know, we have to talk about the team selection and not so much the selection, the formation of the team. My understanding is that I've heard that maybe they didn't think the Arsenal back four was going to be that back four starting, and I think maybe Redknapp looked at it and said, well, the Newcastle game, Adebayo and Sahar were electric together. We're playing a very suspect Arsenal back four. Let's do it again. When we all know in hindsight now, he should have stuck to the tried and tested away from home, one up front, Van der Vaart just behind him, and played that way. But in fairness, after the first 5 minutes when we were a goal up, we're thinking, this is unbelievable. And there was many of us there going, we are going to murder them. This is incredible. And then the second goal again. And it's just, I've never seen, as you said, heads to go down and an absolute disarray. And let's be honest, it could have been fun.
Watching us being outbattled in that midfield was something that, you know, when you look at the players we had at our disposal, I couldn't believe it was watching.
As well.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't have any issues with the starting lineup to start with. I would have preferred to have seen Lennon in for Cranshaw.
Me too.
But other than that,
was a weird one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a weird one.
A fitness problem there or something.
I don't know, but
didn't understand that.
I've always thought personally that we play 4-4-2 at home, 4-5-1 away, especially when you go to somewhere like Arsenal. I mean, we played 4-5-1 up at Manchester City with Jermaine Defoe up front. And I thought we played really well playing the system. And the other thing that, just quickly, that I don't understand, why, when something isn't broke, why fix it? You know, all our best football's been played with Bale playing out wide on the left, Lennon playing out wide on the right, getting chalk on their boots. Suddenly, we're changing it around. Gareth Bale's got this free role now, which I don't really understand. And yesterday, Arsenal just had us 3 against 2 all over the pitch in midfield, and we couldn't cope with it. And we made them look a very, very good side.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Which they're not.
Which they're not.
Worth pointing out.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not. But, you're right. We made them look
When players like
side.
Rosicky and Walcott start looking good, you're doing something wrong.
And also, I mean, again, it came out after the game, Redknapp saying it was touch and go with Ledley King. Don't play him. I know it's a talisman, supposedly. We don't, we win more games when he's in the team than he's out. But he just looked really off the pace. Okoto, quite clearly, wasn't fully fit.
Well, Okoto had no protection in front of him.
No protection in front of him, but he just wasn't getting back, and we got spanked.
Yeah.
I suppose you've got to look at it.
I mean, look at it that way. There's a combination of unfortunate factors to do with fitness and... but, I mean, maybe Van der Vaart wasn't sharp enough to start. Maybe Lennon wasn't sharp enough to start. They haven't played 90 minutes either of them for a while, have they?
Yeah.
Maybe he could justify it that way. Cranshaw was fit. But, yeah, for me, I was amazed when I saw the starting lineup. And although we went 2 goals up, like I say, it was almost in spite of playing badly.
And also, when the changes did come, I couldn't understand the changes either. I couldn't understand why Lennon wasn't brought on at half-time to stretch the pitch out.
Yeah.
Van der Vaart came on. I mean, I love Van der Vaart. I think he's a fantastic player.
He's not an impact player coming on.
But when you've got Bale in this free role and you've got Van der Vaart...
Everything's narrow.
In front of the back four, and you're 4-2 down against Arsenal.
I like the idea. To be honest, when he made the changes, I quite like the idea of him, because I thought Van der Vaart could buzz around and fill in, and Sandro was on paper a great decision. You just shore it up more. You just put real muscle in. I mean, I'm a big Sandro fan.
Yeah.
But Sandro seemed to go walkabout.
Yeah, he did.
He seemed to be going on. When Dawson, I don't know if you noticed, that when Dawson came on, which was very late on, but the first thing he did is he went up to Sandro and went, "Oi, sit there." He said some very bad words as well.
Bad words as well. I was about to say.
Stopped me saying them,
Sports Tonight Live tonight.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Not
normally the podcast...
Which also begs the question,
want.
why didn't Ledley King or
someone else
all say the same thing when they were on the pitch?
I think Harry had sent the message on via Dawson, but it shouldn't have been necessary. Absolutely. Someone should have told him that.
But for me, I just think that what we need to do was just match him in midfield. When you've got those options of Bale and Lennon out wide, that's also a fantastic defensive option, because it pins them back. And they just had the freedom of the park second half. To me, it was just all a horrible mess. I just can't fathom out why what happened.
We've had many emails, obviously, coming through from Spurs fans. If you want to email the show, the Spurs Show at playbackmedia.co.uk. Dan Samuel's written in and just again saying he's writing this literally after the game. And he talks about us away from home. There's the young boys away, 3-0 down after 30 minutes, fought back. Real Madrid, 4-0. Inter Milan away, 4-0 down. Man City, 5-1. Man United away, 3-0. The last game. Again, he's saying Cranshaw had his worst game for us. Barely touched the ball, couldn't touch the ball. He thought Sahar and Adebayo were linking well, but he took Sahar off a very slow Van der Vaart. We needed Lennon's pace. We needed to counter-attack, much better than we did. King woefully off the pace. And again, Gareth Bale, no positional discipline in attack or defence. No challenge on Sagna for the goal. Whining at the ref whenever there was a tackle against him. All these things were there. And he sort of said, but now is a good time to bounce back and hopefully we can do something against Manchester United. Another email, Tim Swaller. Thank you very much, Tim, for emailing us. Also, saying stuff about Bale, not sticking to the job they're meant to be doing. Stay on the left, do what we know you're great at. Simple as that.
I agree with that entirely, yeah.
We've got to ask why he isn't staying left. It must be that Harry has given him licence, and maybe what Harry's... I mean, they double up on him on the left, don't they? And they kick him, and he gets down there and he gets maimed. I mean, he was getting kicked to pieces a lot last season every time he was playing on the left wing, and I think maybe he thinks that if he can come inside and be more unpredictable, it's harder to pin him down, it's harder to put 2 men on him if you don't know where he's going to crop up. So I suppose there's some thinking, but just from our point of view, you look at it and you just think, well, he was absolutely lethal when he was playing as a left winger, and now he's in and out.
And also, he's toughened up, he's stronger, he's bigger. I mean, the size of him now, he's a big lad. Yeah. And I've always felt if someone doubles up on you on one side, you've got space somewhere else to exploit. And if you've got Lennon out there as well, Lennon's going to cause you a lot of damage.
They can't double up on them both.
No, they can't, exactly.
Yeah. That's why it was working.
Yeah. And again, it was working really, really well. And just as I said at the top of the show, if something isn't broke, why try and fix it? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Why try and fix it into what us fans know, is the biggest game of the season?
Yeah, I mean... the strange thing about Harry is he nearly always, he's one of those managers, very rare example of a manager who always seems to do what makes sense. If you're if you watch a team week in, week out like we do, you can see it. And a lot of managers, you get those contrary managers who will pick players who are obviously not worthy, or they play tactics. But Harry always seems to do the right thing. Yeah. This is unusual. what's happened recently.
This is why we're all so bewildered, because Harry actually, he hasn't. I don't buy into the fact that he's suddenly become a bad manager. That's rubbish. I love Harry.
Yeah. Is his head somewhere else? Do we think this
but I was just about to bring that up. Yeah. Is there something else going on in Harry's head with the England job? Who knows?
They all sat there static on the bench, didn't they? I mean, no one really got up. There was no.
And Harry himself was very static. I couldn't I wasn't watching the TV. I was there, and I kept looking over, thinking, "Come on, Harry, get up and start sort of punching your fist and start sort of showing a bit of passion." Yeah. I didn't see any of that. Maybe I'm wrong. I wasn't watching the bench the whole time,
but you could sense when Saka got the first goal again.
And I've got to say, Lennon and Defoe, both of them
didn't close the cross in. Bell didn't go with him. As soon as they went 2-1, you could just sense the game for Spurs fans. That's sort of thing that Arsenal fans always said. This is impending doom. Yeah. This is going to go wrong. It reminded me of the Manchester United game where we were 3-0 up at half-time.
And we lost 5-3.
And lost 5-3. When they scored first minute in the second half of that game,
and we just capitulated.
That this was it. This was going to happen. I had the same feeling.
I felt like even when we were 2-0 up, it felt like that. It absolutely felt like that. We were backs to the wall. We were defending incredibly deep, looking a lot of serious amount of panic going on. I'm thinking, hold on, we're 2-0 up here.
Yeah. But you never felt comfortable at 2-0, did you? I didn't. Even at 2-0, I never felt comfortable.
Well, because we weren't playing well. We had not played well. We didn't deserve it. That's what you have to see.
So let's try and look forward to the game on Sunday. Another massive game against Manchester United. No Scott Parker. Can we bounce back? Can we get something against United?
Well, I'm reminded of that time when the chips were down a couple of years ago, and we had to play Arsenal and then Chelsea in order to go. We just lost to Portsmouth, right?
in the cup semi-final.
And you're thinking we had some injuries like we're going to have now, and we got these two incredibly difficult games against teams that are above us in the table, and we just didn't have any. We didn't look like we had any chance. I flew back early from a holiday to go to the Arsenal game, thinking, what sort of an idiot am I to come and watch this? Look, then I got the team sheet, and Danny Rose is making his first start, and I'm thinking, this is disaster. What happened? We beat the Arsenal with a great goal, Danny Rose. We beat the Chelsea on the Saturday. We were back in the hunt for the Champions League. We got Champions League.
Very true.
And so maybe we'll get that sort of response. But Manchester United is a tough. Well, I can't remember the last time we beat them in the league. Anywhere.
2001. Was 2001, I believe.
So it took 11 years. So that would be a response of a similar scale to the one we had. The one that I'm just talking about.
Well, the last heavy defeat, Manchester City, we then won 10 out of the next 11. And also, again, a lot of people on the sort of message boards and all that have been writing, and especially on our Facebook page, Spurs Show Facebook page, don't forget the running we've got at the end of the season. We have still on paper, we've got a brilliant run in.
Yeah. Once we're through this patch.
We still would have taken 7 points ahead of Chelsea and Arsenal at this stage. Yeah. Let's get carried away here. Yeah. We just need to bounce back.
We've got to get through these next 3 games. Then it's easier. But these next 3 games.
To be honest with you, I think the reason we're all sat here in stunned astonishment is because none of us expected this yesterday. And it wouldn't surprise me at all to be a typical Tottenham of the Tottenham under Harry to respond in exactly the right way. Go out against Manchester United and beat them. It wouldn't surprise me. After all, we are due a win against them.
And we're good enough to beat them.
And we're good enough. Yeah. We've got, I think a lot of our players will get into this club, Manchester United.
The only worry is this international breaks. So now most of the players now leave the training ground. Yeah. I know Van der Vaart's not fit, so he'll be on the treatment bench. Walker's not fit. But quite a few are going off.
Yeah, but there is a school of thought.
Come back until the Friday or Saturday.
You could say that to them after a game after losing 5-2. Maybe it'd do everyone good to get away and regroup just before the next game, possibly. Rather than.
And United, they are a dogged side. They are one of the toughest teams to beat.
They'll grind out.
But they're not. This isn't
they're not
a great Manchester United side. I've seen a lot of much better Man United sides than this one. They have got a few cracks everywhere, but if we're going to do anything against them and we're going to win, we will have to be at our very, very best. There's you cannot underestimate Manchester United. You just can't.
No, absolutely. Well, there we are. So that's the weekend. Sunday, Manchester United. We've got so many of your emails here. This is a great one. We always like to sort of find on the Spurs show what ex-players are doing and all that. This has been coming from, I beg your pardon, Chris King. Chris, who is in Johannesburg even. Thanks, Chris. Basically, he was in a golf store in the forward district of Johannesburg looking for a Callaway 3-wood, and a guy with a sort of... he's from Essex originally. And basically, he was served by the guy working the shop, Millie Alexic, the goalkeeper. The 1981 Cup-winning team.
Heroic
served him. They had a great chat with Alexic, he was known. And there he is, there we are. Millie Alexic is now selling golf clubs.
Alive and well in Johannesburg selling golf clubs. I hope it's his own shop.
I don't think it is.
Oh,
it's not his own shop. sadly.
Oh, well, that's
there
good
we
to
go.
know.
Knut Henriksen, who's a big Spurs boy from Scandinavia. Also, they've got a big charity event coming on in Tottenham this Saturday with Cliff Jones is on, Rob White's also been on the Spurs show, and Steve Jones, Cliff's son. They're doing some memorabilia. There's a big Spurs quiz. Daniel Wynn is the Toastmaster. If you want to go and attend that, go to footballaway.co.uk/Spurs, and all the money goes to local charities.
Where is that then?
Look on the website. No,
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I gave out the web address quite clearly.
Yeah.
Last week we had on the podcast Julie Welsh, the journalist, talking about the official biography book she's going to be writing on Spurs, sanctioned by the club. She's asking Spurs fans to maybe write in and sort of say a few lines about what it means to be a Spurs fan. Stephen Altman's written in, and this is from San Francisco in California. All our listeners from all around the world. He's written in and said, being a Spurs fan, excuse me, is simply this. You've made a pact. You'll suffer any sort of ignominy. You'll endure mediocrity. You'll bear 1,000 outstretched Defoe legs and Balotelli gloats. You'll watch with deep pain and sadness the stench of a red shirt from Woolwich torn to trophy in your face. You'll watch year after year the Champions League party that you'll never get invited to seemingly, but you made a pact. And when one sweet interchange between Lennon and Bell on the edge of the penalty area produces a moment of magic when a smiling Kabul joyously celebrates his headed winner, lighten your heart in the heart of darkness when your team, not amassed by plundered old money, nor American zillionaires, produces however rare moments of sheer, pure exhilaration. Then you understand your desire to witness the beautiful game and all its true glory is manifest, and 1,000 disappointments will not dissuade you from steadfastly maintaining your pact. You'll bear 1,000 years of darkness to revel in one moment of unparalleled lily-white light. That is being a Spurs fan.
Bloody well done. Well read, sir.
Thing.
Well
Very
read.
well.
And that was Shakespearean.
It was Shakespearean, wasn't
It felt like a soliloquy.
so there is a light at the end of this
something.
dark Gooner stench tunnel, as he coining a phrase from him. These things happen. But anyway, don't forget, once again, you can email us spurshow@playbackmedia.co.uk. You can subscribe at spursshow.net. Go to spursshow.net. You've got all the links to our Twitter, our Facebook pages, all the things, our apps, our iPhone and Android apps. You can get them all there. You also, I don't want to also harp on bad things here, Theo. The night before, the day before the game, an awful thing happened.
Saturday night, my house was burgled while my wife and I and my children slept. No. Intruders came in the house, robbed me of laptops, handbags, car keys, the lot. So I woke up that morning to find I'd been robbed. I spent the whole morning wading through Treacle with people like, the police, who were very good, to be fair, forensics, insurance people. Quickly found out the insurance weren't going to pay up because the door wasn't properly locked.
Why? Who didn't lock the door? The wife didn't lock the door.
I then found out the car people didn't want to pay up because I hadn't told them a couple of speeding convictions and wanted to charge me £3,000 or £4,000 before they'd pay up for the car situation. I then spent a happy hour in the O2 shop trying to get my wife a phone because she had no phone. She's going to the hospital this week to have a little operation, nothing serious, but... And, so I'm going through this hideous hell, this nightmarish thing. I sit down at 1:30 to watch the Spurs, and I witnessed probably the most horrific football match I've ever seen.
That's a bad weekend.
What do you think I'm owed some sort of karma for going through that kind of... Or maybe I've sinned in a past life, as Glenn Hoddle might say. Jesus.
That's awful.
That is terrible, isn't it? What a day.
That is awful.
What a weekend.
I felt like
dreadful.
Yeah, it was literally like a nightmare. By the end of the day, I wasn't able to speak. In fact, this is the first few words I've spoken for at least 36 hours.
Well, there you are. And we've spoken a lot. So, anything else coming up, Jeff, at the 100 Club? Anything you want to plug? Apart from the Spurs show live on Monday, May the 14th.
Yeah, just go to the website, www.the100club.co.uk. What I will say, just quickly, though.
Please.
You mentioned Julie Welsh's book and Danny Blanchfest just made me think. My dad, who's a massive Spurs fan, went to see every Tottenham game bar about 4 when they won the double in 60-61. Couldn't get a ticket for the cup final at all. So he wrote to Danny Blanchflower, care of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, and just put this desperate letter in saying, Danny, I've been to every game bar 4 this year. Is there any chance you can get me a cup final ticket? And through the letter of 79 Springfield Avenue, Muswell Hill, where he lived, came this letter, all handwritten, to Roger Horton. He opened it up, and inside was a note saying, to Roger, enjoy the game. All the best, Danny, and 2 cup finals.
No.
Yeah. My dad's still got the letter at home now.
Wow. That is a fantastic story.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. Can you imagine players doing that now?
No.
Wow.
My dad's still got the letter.
Right now, let's be honest. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Now, listening to Julie Walsh just reminded me of that story. I've just thought of it
Because she had a great story about meeting Danny,
did,
about Danny giving her a lift and all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, again, if you didn't listen to last week's show, The Glory Game, wonderful film written by Julie Wellworth. You've got it, haven't you?
Yeah,
I've got it as well. Yeah, I've got it.
It's a given together.
Yeah.
We're really looking forward to her book coming out, really, so that'd be fantastic. So anyway, we've got United coming up.
Yeah.
We've got
Everton away.
We've got the cup game.
We've got the cup
replay.
replay. Shouldn't take that for granted.
Everton, I think, is going to be really tough.
This time of year, they start playing well, especially at home.
Yeah.
Maybe against the next Spurs manager, if you believe some of the press.
Yeah. Bloody hell, that's cheered us up. That's cheered us up.
But, do you know, I don't buy this Harry for England thing at all, you know. I'm
Will
not sure.
Will he even get the job now?
Exactly.
We've drawn with Stevenage, we've got thumped by Arsenal.
Well, yes, that's true. I mean, maybe
Hard to know which is more undignified.
exactly. Maybe he's trying to distance himself from it, but I'm not sure the FA are going to appoint him anyway, and I can't see Harry would want to join that clique anyway. Would you? I mean, can you imagine him wanting to be in charge of just 8 games, most of them meaningless a year? I think he likes that day-to-day
It's weird,
thing.
if you look at the sort of World Cup qualifiers, the San Marinos, it's not like you're going to amazing places.
On the other hand,
amazing games,
he's getting on a little bit, isn't he? And he could sort of view it as a nice sort of, it's almost like semi-retirement, that job, because for 6 or 8, 10 weeks at a time, you just go around watching good football matches, don't you, as people's guests. Then you pick a squad, then you do a game, a few training sessions, then you just watch games again.
But I'm also convinced that Harry feels that this is the best job he's ever had, and that he's got a real chance to do something in domestic
becoming
football.
one of the greats.
And he isn't far away. Despite everything that happened yesterday, he's not that far away. A couple of more players this summer, and remember, he could lead us into the new stadium and everything else as well. You know, he could he could be up there with some of the Tottenham great managers, Harry, if he sticks around.
Absolutely.
That's got to be an appeal.
He's going. I really can't see him staying. You know, I just can't.
I don't know.
I mean, while there was that sort of outside chance of having to go at the title, fine, but that now is absolutely gone. And looking at yesterday's performance, we could be clinging on for 3rd. We could even be clinging on for 4th.
Yeah.
You know, if we lose to United, lose at Everton,
then we got Chelsea after
Arsenal win at Liverpool, lose at Chelsea, Arsenal win at Liverpool, Chelsea beat us. All of a sudden now we draw. I mean,
cheerful.
Well, I'm a typical Spurs fan. What can I tell you? I mean,
I tend to agree with Theo, though.
This is how badly it can go the other way.
Yeah, I agree with what Theo said earlier, though, about this is reminiscent of that run we had when we qualified for the Champions League. You know, we lost against Portsmouth, and then suddenly Arsenal, Chelsea, we won at Manchester City as well. I think this team can still finish 3rd. I'm convinced of it.
No,
I tell you, the best thing is that we're at home on Sunday.
Yeah.
Home to Man United could be the perfect fixture.
Absolutely.
I mean, away anywhere it would have been, oh Christ, but at home to a big club with something, that long history of not beating.
You've got to be up for it, haven't you? You've got to be up for playing Manchester
and on your own
United.
ground.
We've only lost 1 game at home. Is that correct?
Yeah, and that was the City game. And really, as we all know, that wasn't the proper team.
No, it wasn't.
No, and saying that, you've got Parker, but Parker's out. But so you
Sandro. I think Sandro, if Sandro's fit, then although Parker is absolutely fantastic, he's the one of our most important players that actually does have a good, credible stand-in in Sandro, I think. I mean, Sandro can be really good in
Have you seen the YouTube video of Sandro in his Kung Fu?
Absolutely fantastic.
That's absolutely brilliant.
I mean, he's an awesome geezer.
He's a beast.
But he needs to be disciplined.
He's
a massive
it's great. It's good.
The only trouble is he gets booked every game. We just want to make sure he didn't get booked too early. And he certainly got his booking in.
This was Parker's undoing in the end, wasn't it, on Sunday?
Sunday, we scored too early, as we always say on the show.
I found myself thinking that. We've scored too early.
Scored too early.
And how right we were.
We must be the only set of fans in history that if we score
don't
early,
like
go,
scoring.
oh no,
Don't score,
don't want to score. We've scored too early. There we go. Well, I think that's about it. Thank you very much, Jeff, for coming along.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Thank you very much, Theo. That was great. Thank you very much to Sports Tonight Live for having us this week. Don't forget, you go to sporttonight.com, where you can, there's some wonderful shows there. My phone's going, I should turn off. That's not good, that's not professional. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
This is a Playback Media production. Get all the associated links for this podcast at spursshow.net.